Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips joined by Gamecock great Joe Rhett. We're talking Sweet 16 today. The Gamecocks are playing in New York City tonight at Madison Square Garden in the NCAA Tournament, the round of 16, after really an historic weekend for the Gamecock men's team. Wins over Marquette and Duke last weekend in Greenville has punched the Gamecocks ticket to New York City. And, Joe, we're ready for the Sweet 16 matchup tonight. There's been some talk this week that national media has reported that it's the first ever appearance in the Sweet 16 for the Gamecocks. That's not the fact. The fact is that Frank McGuire's Gamecock teams made the Sweet 16 3 years in a row, 71, 72, and 73.
Oh, okay.
But they only won one game to get there at that time. The format has changed. The field has expanded to 64 and then now 68. So the first time in the modern era, I guess you would say, that the Gamecocks have made it to the Sweet 16. So what a week, Joe. You know, we've had all week to kind of soak in what happened in that Duke game. I think a lot of Gamecock fans still on cloud nine.
Yes, they are, man. Just being out in the public this week and just talking to so many friends, fans, and former players, the buzz is just out there. And it just feels so great just to see everybody embracing this moment. People that you didn't even think was Gamecock fans are jumping on board. It's just been a tremendous week after a tremendous win against Duke. Right now, man, you see Frank Martin on the media circuit. You see him on all kind of national outlets, from Mike and Mike to Dan Patrick to Good Morning America, and probably several other things. And, you know, he's actually took over New York. You know, I don't see a whole lot of other coaches getting as much pub as Frank Martin. It's really nice for me to see, been able to see the other side of Frank. You know, people always think he's this big bear that's always growling and fussing and yelling on the sideline. But this week, you know, a lot of people got to see his family, what a wonderful family that he has, and just a softer, gentler side of him outside of basketball.
Yeah, interesting. Coach Martin was on Good Morning America on Thursday morning with Robert Roberts and Michael Strahan, and he really is a down-to-earth guy, Joe. I don't know if I don't want to say people got the wrong impression of him or perception of him initially at South Carolina. You know, he got the one-game suspension a couple of years back for using some colorful language that was captured on national TV. I think that rubbed some people the wrong way. But that, you know, that quickly went away, and there has not been another incident like that. I thought that was much ado about nothing, frankly. That's just my personal opinion, but obviously didn't sit well with some folks, and I think – you know, a lot of people questioned if Frank Martin was a good fit for South Carolina. Well, all those questions have been laid to rest this week. And, you know, Coach Martin, I think, is a fine representative not only of the University of South Carolina but the state of South Carolina. You know, Joe, there were Confederate flags. There were like a dozen people that showed up with Confederate flags at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville last weekend. It was like 12 people that showed up for his Confederate flag deal. And Coach Martin's on national TV for a week answering questions about the Confederate flag, an issue that's got nothing to do with him. But I thought he handled himself extremely well.
No doubt. He is has been an ambassador since he's been here, PP. He's from day one, 5 years ago, he's been reconnecting with the local coaches, the community. And he gets it, man. He's one of the old school coaches who gets it, meaning just getting out in the community, building up this program, allowing former players to come back and be part of what they're doing, and to see the progression that he's done in these 5 years is awesome. And he's just doing a tremendous job. And you can't find a better ambassador, a guy that's putting in the work, not only just on the court but off the court, and just building this fan base up to the level that it is. And hopefully we can transpire this not only this year, but keep this thing going by bringing in more top recruits, because everybody know, you know, that South Carolina is out there right now. So hopefully we can build upon this and get some of these top recruits that are, you know, in South Carolina. And we're going to get some guys from out the state, but we got to start focusing on, to me, keeping some of these great talent that's in the state.
Yeah, Zion Williamson, first name that comes to mind there, one of the top juniors in the country. In fact, he may be the number one rated junior in the nation right now out of Spartanburg Day. He's got offers from every major program in the country, and he is something to watch, I'll tell you what. The Gamecocks are in on him, and we'll talk more about Zion Williamson moving forward here on Gamecock Central Radio. But I thought the Gamecocks were very fortunate to land Frank Martin when they hired him 5 years ago, and as I've gotten to see him work and just the way he carries himself, Joe, I just really like Frank Martin more and more, and the way the Gamecocks played against Duke on Sunday night made me like him even more.
I've been fortunate to have somewhat of a relationship with him. Don't speak to him all the time, but we speak occasionally. He has us down, and he's just such a great guy. You wouldn't even think that I didn't play for him the way he treats us. And it's just, just great for what he's doing right now.
All right, enough with all these outside issues here, Joe. Let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's get down to Sweet 16 talk. March Madness, South Carolina and Baylor is the matchup Friday night, Madison Square Garden. Gamecock Nation is flocking to New York City for this big ball game. No question, Joe, the biggest ball game in the history of the program. This is it tonight, South Carolina and Baylor. So the Gamecocks beat Marquette with 54 points in the second half Friday night in Greenville. Back that up with 65 in the second half against Duke Sunday in Greenville. And the Gamecocks pulled off what a lot of folks feel like is the biggest upset of this year's NCAA tournament so far. Baylor started the year 15-0. They were 20-1 at one point this year and ranked number 1 in the nation. They played about 500 ball in a tough Big 12 conference this year over the last month of the season, and they beat New Mexico State and Southern Cal to reach the round of 16. Fourth time in 8 years that Baylor's been to the round of 16. So it's an interesting contrast, Joe. A Baylor team that's got a lot of veteran players. They've got fourth-year juniors, fifth-year seniors. They got a veteran team that's got tournament experience. It's accustomed to being in the Sweet 16, where the Gamecocks do not. So a lot of contrast between these two teams when you talk about tournament experience.
There's a lot of contrast, but I tell you right now, we might not be the most talented team from top to bottom, but I don't think there's a team out there that plays with more heart than the South Carolina team. And every night with our defense out there right now, the way we're playing defense, which helps our offense right now, I don't think nobody plays as hard. So with that being said, just the way we play defense, I think will give us a chance.
A little closer look at Baylor here. They're 27-7 overall. They are giving up 63.5 points a ball game this year. That's the 21st best defense in the country. So it's two defensive-minded basketball teams getting together tonight at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Jonathan Motley is one of the top players for Baylor. He is a second-team All-American. He's been named second-team All-American by 3 different publications this year. 17 points, 9.9 rebounds per game. The junior for Baylor is a Naismith Trophy semifinalist. He's also on the Wooden Award national ballot, and he's a finalist for the Karl Malone Award. So, Motley, Joe, averaging basically a double-double for the entire season, and Baylor has also got a transfer from Miami of Florida by the name of Manu Lecomte, second on the team in scoring at just over 12 points per game, and he was the Big 12 newcomer of the year this year. So when people talk about the Carolina win over Duke, they talk about the fact that Duke didn't have, a true point guard, Joe. Well, Baylor does in Manu Lecomte.
Yeah, Baylor's a team that's tremendously athletic. They really like to get up and down and play fast, and once they don't play as fast, they do have a guy that they can get the ball inside to. So I'm not really worried about. I think we match up better with them on the perimeter. I think Silva, Kotsar, and Keita, they're gonna have their hands full tonight with the big guy inside. He's a very versatile player, 17 and 9.9 rebounds a night. They're gonna have their hands full. They have to play honest. The Gamecock guards gonna have to continue to play their ball pressure, but to help the bigs, they're gonna have to put a lot of pressure on the guards from trying to pass it to those guys. So it's going to have to be a total team effort tonight. Guys are going to have to communicate. They're going to have to rotate, and they're just going to have to play a tremendous game on defense tonight. They got away with a little bit against Duke because Duke really didn't have an offensive presence inside. So tonight is a different little monster that they got to tackle. But hey, Bills, I speak about this a lot. We don't have an SEC official that was, I'm going to say, nitpicking on Silva a little bit, but a lot of times they didn't allow him to play. So like he just get in the game, he blowing somebody and call a foul. Even though some of those fouls were silly fouls, but hopefully he's grown up. He's making a mark for himself as well. So this team can be beat tonight. We're just gonna have to slow them down and continue to play the defense that we've been playing especially the last 2 games in the tournament. We went back to that defense that we was playing in December and January, which I love to see. So get to play some defense and get out and get some early baskets for us tonight. See that ball. I always talk about that. See that ball go in that hole, especially for a guy like Dwayne Knowles. You saw that ball go in the hole for another night and just open up so many different things for that team on Friday night.
Baylor is the second best rebounding team in the country. Their rebounding margin was plus 9.1 this year. They got 9 rebounds a game, more than their opponents for the entire season. South Carolina out-rebounded Duke in the second round on Sunday, but they may have a harder time on the board against these Baylor Bears tonight at Madison Square Garden. If we're looking for a weakness for Baylor, Joe, it's that they have turned the basketball over quite a bit this year. In fact, they got a negative turnover margin. They committed 2 more turnovers per game than their opponents, and that ranks them 306th in the nation. So Gamecock defense forced a season-high 18 turnovers against Duke. Maybe the Gamecocks will have a chance to force a boatload of turnovers again tonight against Baylor.
Yeah, we hope that, if we continue to play D, we have been playing, they will turn it over. Also, there is a reason why they turn the ball, because they play so fast. So you have to look at it that way also, because they play so fast, try to get up and down the court and get quick shots off. So due to that, they often turn the ball over. But, the key to us, when we do make them turn the ball over, we're going to have to capitalize and get some easy baskets, because we've seen we can get in moments where we're struggling to half court. So if they want to give us the ball and give us some layups off of their turnovers, that's better for our team to get our blood flowing and see that ball go in the hole and start making some outside shots from all our guys.
All right, 2 good defensive teams squaring off tonight. 7:29 tip on TBS from Madison Square Garden, and that game will be followed at the Garden by Wisconsin and Florida. And the winners of these 2 games will meet on Sunday for the right to go to the Final Four, an Elite 8 matchup coming up Sunday at Madison Square Garden between the winners of tonight's 2 ball games. So, Joe, interesting that Gamecock Nation is turning out in full force in New York City, and some special festivities going on for Gamecock fans who are making the trip to New York on Friday. Gamecock fans are invited to Times Square for a pregame event. Digital billboards have been secured in Times Square that will be showcasing the Gamecocks and the University of South Carolina from 5:50 p.m. until 6:10 p.m. on Friday. The billboards on the NASDAQ building and the Reuters building, that's 43rd and 7th Street and 43rd and Broadway, will have digital signage showcasing the Sweet 16 Carolina men's basketball team as well as the University of South Carolina as a whole. So Gamecock fans who are in New York or who are headed to New York for tonight's game are encouraged to visit the area around Times Square, take photos with the billboards, hashtag Gamecocks, hashtag Sweet 16 on social media posts, and keep an eye on the billboards as they will rotate throughout the day amongst other advertisements. So I don't know who's paying for this, Joe. Maybe the USC athletic department, I don't know, but somebody's footing the bill. Got to be expensive taking over those billboards for 20 minutes in Times Square.
No doubt, man. That's awesome. That is so awesome. I don't know if Pastides or I don't know if Ray brought that to Pastides to sign up on. Whoever's paying for it, that is so awesome. I wish I was up there to be a part of that. And that's not for the players, that's for the fans. And that's good. Whoever put that bill, that's so awesome, because we haven't been there. We have not been to Sweet 16 in this modern era, like you said earlier. And our opportunity, we're taking advantage of it. We got South Carolina's been marketed a lot this week, a whole lot, through Frank Martin, through all the stories about Sendaria, all the different guys, and for them to put this on display for them in Times Square, that is so awesome. Awesome for the fans, awesome for the players.
All right, we're looking forward to tonight's ball game. Joe and I will come back. If the Gamecocks beat Baylor, we're going to have another podcast prior to the Elite 8 matchup, but we certainly don't want to look too far ahead. First things first, Joe, Baylor Bears tonight at Madison Square Garden.
Absolutely. I think we got them. I'm pretty sure we'll be talking again tomorrow about a win. We'll be talking about either playing Wisconsin or Florida. Honestly, I'm looking ahead. I don't want to see Florida again. I'd rather play Wisconsin. But we got to handle our business tonight. We can go out there and play. We have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. Everything, no pressure is on us. Baylor's a team that's been number one. They got all the pressure. We go out there and play loose like we have been playing. I hope that we don't start off like we've been starting off, shooting the ball so bad in the first half and then have to put so much on us in the second half. We can come out early and jump on this team early. I think we can pull another miraculous win out.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Gamecocks get off to a good start. They did not do that against Marquette. Fell behind 8-0 to start that game, came back and won, and trailed by 7 at halftime against Duke before really getting their act together in the second half, and a huge second half for South Carolina on Sunday in that second round win over the Blue Devils. So what a ride it has been. What a great week for Gamecock basketball fans. The men's and women's teams are both in action today in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Tournament. My man Joe Rhett joins me each week here on Gamecock Central Radio to talk basketball. Joe, I don't think I've ever had much fun following Gamecock basketball as I've had this week. How about you?
I've never had it. I've been fortunate, after I played, to be part of different talk shows since I've been out, and it's been some tough times, and it's tough to, I wouldn't say criticize some of the teams, but it's been tough sometimes. But the high that we're on right now, for me as former players and fans right now, I'm totally enjoying this ride, and I'm not ready for the end. So I hope we can continue this thing and keep it rolling.
All
maybe lead 8 to the Final Four.
Yeah, we've got if momentum counts for anything, the Gamecocks certainly have plenty of it after that huge win over Duke on Sunday, and the Gamecocks are flying high right now, playing with house money tonight against the Baylor Bears in the Sweet 16. Joe, thanks for the time today. Hope to talk to you again tomorrow, and regardless, we'll be back next week to talk Gamecock basketball. Thanks very much.
You're welcome, my man. Have a good one.
All right, that's Gamecock great Joe Rhett, and I'm Emerson Phillips, and this is Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for listening.